Isn't it true that sometimes a tragedy, an unexpected event, something happens in the course of our life's journey that sets us off in a different direction, such that this new direction can put us in touch more deeply with God? It happens sometimes when someone loses a loved one, or gets stricken with illness, or has an accident. Well, certainly this is true of St. Ignatius Loyola. He was on a path, and the path was clear to him. He was a military man who really wanted to be part of the entire royal court. But in 1521, at the Battle of Pamplona, his leg is shattered. He's fighting against the French, and the French set the leg, but they did a very poor job. And you know, in those days, they wore those very tight pants at the court. And Ignatius felt, well, you know, I have to continue to be able to do that. So without anesthesia in those days, 1521, he has his leg reset. Again, it fails, but as he's recuperating from this operation, this resetting, he wants to read. And he's at his family's home in Loyola at the castle, and his sister-in-law only has the life of Christ and the lives of the saints for him to read. And so, what does he do? He starts reading them, and he imagines, wow, what if I did things like St. Dominic and St. Francis? If I followed Christ that closely? Wow. And so, his path is changed. God used that accident, that tragic event, that shattering of his leg, to have him move in another whole direction. And he goes off, and he heads towards Montserrat in Spain, the beautiful monastery. And there, symbolically, he places his sword in front of the Black Madonna that's still there today, as a symbolic act that he is going forth in a new way. And we know that he then goes off to a cave in Manresa, and there the spiritual exercises are given birth. He prays and notices in himself how to discern when he was following God and when he was following the ways of the world or the ways of the evil spirit. And he leaves us in the church the spiritual exercises. He never goes forth intending either to form a religious community, but somehow this develops along the way as he studies and meets other people and gives them the spiritual exercises. And so we have today the Society of Jesus, the Jesuits. And our motto is that of St. Ignatius, for the greater glory of God. We heard in the first reading from Corinthians, for the glory of God. But Ignatius adds to that, the greater glory. We have to continue to invite God to help us to always do more for our God and for our neighbor. You know, recently at our parish, St. Ignatius Loyola, our music director retired after 33 years. And of course, it was a grand celebration this past Sunday as the choir sang, and when I thanked him at the end of the Mass, of course, people got up and applauded and applauded and applauded. And what did he do? He turned around and looked at the sanctuary and went like this, because around our sanctuary at St. Ignatius it says, Ad Maiorem Dei Gloriam, for the greater glory of God. He was saying his 33 years was all about that. And our days, our journey through life must be about that. Doing all we can, always and everywhere, ad maiorem Dei gloriam, for the greater glory of God, just as St. Ignatius did.